Jake Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse remake makes some major changes to the main character's backstory, but in doing so breaks an important and slightly surprising trend in the UFC. Unlike in the original Roadhouse, the UFC plays a major role in building the 2024 movie's world and providing background to the characters. However, because of this close association, it was perhaps inevitable that the film would have an impact on how the organization is perceived, even if it makes some significant alterations to its history. Whereas in the Patrick Swayze Roadhouse, the main character Dalton is a philosophizing bouncer of somewhat mysterious origin, the Jake Gyllenhaal version is given a more concrete background. As befits his prodigious combat abilities, Gyllenhaal's Dalton is revealed to be a former UFC fighter who retired from the sport following a tragic accident in the ring. Within the context of the story, this background makes sense and explains how someone who is so good at fighting ends up at a nondescript bar in Florida. However, in making this change, the film also altered a key aspect of the real UFC's history. In the 31 years since the UFC was founded, no fighter has ever died in the octagon. A key aspect of Dalton's character in Roadhouse 2024 is his failure to deal with the death of an opponent in the ring at his hands. According to the film, Dalton killed a former friend during an official UFC fight after losing control and becoming completely overcome with rage. This personality trait becomes a feature of Roadhouse as the story develops, dictating how Dalton behaves in particular scenes. However, while it makes for a compelling story and helps explain why Dalton is where he is, it completely ignores the fact that no real fighter has ever actually died in the octagon. Despite what is portrayed on screen, the UFC has an unblemished record when it comes to deaths in its official competitions. Although the sport often features serious injuries, with Roadhouse's own Conor McGregor infamously breaking his leg during a fight, there is yet to be a fatality. Although there have been several deaths in MMA competitions outside of UFC, the fact that Roadhouse explicitly linked its tragic formative incident to the well-known competition marks a major change from reality. Roadhouse almost lost the UFC's approval due to Dalton's tragic backstory. Jake Gyllenhaal as Dalton in Roadhouse custom image by Debanjana Chowdhury. Given the UFC's emphasis on fighter safety and its unblemished mortality record, it's unsurprising that Roadhouse's plot point proved controversial. In fact, according to Conor McGregor, the storyline proved so contentious that it was almost removed altogether due to the UFC's disapproval. As the former two-weight world champion told GQ Sports, although the decision to have Dalton kill someone in an official UFC competition could be seen as bad publicity for the organization, there's no doubt that it added to the story. Not only does the involvement of the UFC lend the story a sense of authenticity, but the gravity of the tragedy helps make him a more sympathetic and believable protagonist. While not every aspect of the Roadhouse remake worked, the UFC backstory is one detail that certainly added to the story.